There's an idea in football that just because you're really good, you can go anywhere and make it work. And I think the coach Jose Riveiro situation right now, where he got released by Ahly, shows us that it doesn't matter how good you are, but there are other sides to football that you need to take into account when making decisions of where to go with your career. You see, a lot of the time we have conversations from the point of view of tactics. We have conversations about the 4-3-3s, about the wingers, about the resources, about the quality of players, about the catenaccios, about the registas, about the liberos, about the counter-attacking, the transitioning in football. And we make that the bulk of what coaching is. But that is the lie we've told ourselves, because coaching is not just about the drawing board. It's about the management of different stakeholders. It's the management of your players. How do you get your players online to want to play for you, to want to kill for you? Coach Pitso is famous for coming out and saying the first thing that he does when he reaches the club is he tries his best to win the players' minds first. Minds and hearts, the human beings, as him and Rulani call them. Get them to a place where emotionally they are with you. And they'll be willing to run through a wall for you. We've seen it with your Sir Alex Fergusons. We've seen it with your Arsene Wengers. We've seen it with the Pep Guardiolas. We've seen coaches come in and convince sometimes players that are not the best players to go out and do the best things, because they hear, they understand, and they trust a coach 100%. And there's ways to shortcut those things. There's ways to shortcut them. You can shortcut them by bringing in your own people. Pep Guardiola is famous for getting rid of Deco, Ronaldinho, trying to get rid of Eto'o in order to bring in some guys who will be beholden to him, who will listen to him, who come up and they say, that is the man that gave me my chance. I will listen to him. Think about what the players at Pirates say about Jose Riveiro. El Padre. Hey, ngimthemba konke. Ngathi ubaba la kimi. This is what the players say. We all watch Giants. That is a way to get them on your side. But that's only one part of the puzzle. You move on to now, let's talk about the fans. Yazi, the fans will show you what feeling is. And a lot of the time, feeling overrides results. And when you get to big teams, you have to understand your fan base. You have to understand how they are activated, how they are controlled. You have to understand how to speak to them, how to get through to them. Ask Stuart Baxter on his second time round, when he was fighting fans, what could and can happen to you as a coach when you are speaking to people in a certain way and you're not talking to them the way you should be talking to them. Ask Miguel Cardoso right now, who faces unfair questions in my estimation, who faces a team that, even though objectively, stats-wise, play-wise, results-wise, he's got the thing, he's winning. What happens when they don't feel you? Very, very, very interesting story of this back in the 80s, I think it was. My father used to tell me about Joe Frickleton. I think his name was Joe Frickleton, who coached Kaizer Chiefs. Or was it Frickleton or was it Butler? One of those coaches came in and they won everything. Mara, we didn't have that thing. You didn't have the connection to the coach, and he left. And you have a coach Jose Riveiro that's leaving a Pirates, where I will say this, and I hope you guys hear me properly. When you're coaching Pirates. And it doesn't mean that uyislima. But you have to seem like somebody who's coming in and respecting the team and doing what the team wants and playing the way that the team wants and understanding all of that. A lot of the Pirates coaches don't get the credit of playing Pirates? What is the credit we give to Jose? We give Jose the credit of not changing what Pirates does, coming in and understanding Pirates' DNA, coming in and understanding. And it's not that he wasn't a great tactician. You could see it from the games. But the feeling was that he earned his way into the hearts of Pirates fans, or he was an outsider who respected Pirates. You see it Kabo Zinbawa, you see it Kabo Krol, the way that they're spoken about afterwards. But then there's also cultural boundaries, especially when you start going overseas, that you have to cross. You know, when you get into a certain country, there's requirements. There's a requirement. We all know in the North. There's a requirement that if you have one of those big teams, you have to win. You have to go out and win every single game. They will fire you like this. Easy. Nangurulani. Went to eat that thinking, I'm going to build something here. Thinking that I'm bigger than the requirements that are asked from me. Thinking that the leash is long because I am Rulani. But the truth is, you have to earn all of those things. And Ngale is not earned by building block by block, brick by brick. There, you damn near have to come with a house and put it all the way down, as is, and you have your house. Because that is what is the demand of those countries, especially conservative countries, for example. So, from day one, when Jose Riveiro was announced, I remember the announcement happening, and I said, I don't think it will work. And a lot of people didn't understand where I was coming from. But a lot of the time, if you understand the culture of a club and you understand how to present yourself at a club, you can get past a lot of those different little eras and a lot of those different little bumps that I was speaking about right now in terms of management, in terms of all of that. The meek, quiet, indoor genius of Jose Riveiro was never going to work at a club that demands you to have a certain personality. I always speak about clubs as having those characteristics, those personalities. I speak about clubs that you need to be a certain type of person to lead some of the clubs. You look at Kaizer Chiefs. The coaches that have been successful at Kaizer Chiefs have often been foreigners who have an ignorance a little bit about South African football, and they have an arrogance. You think about Stuart Baxter landing at Kaizer Chiefs and saying, they asked him about the derby and about Orlando Pirates, and he said, guys, I don't know about that. All I know is that I'm here to win. There's an arrogance, there's an ego, there's a I'm above you all type of person that comes in. And that is informed by the years of everything else. I mean, when you see pictures of Tate Kaizer, Dr. Kaizer at the top, Chincha Kuluva. My father used to tell me stories about when he came from America. He just felt bigger than the others, man. He got the bell bottoms and the afro. And when the Glamour Boys was made, a lot of their core DNA was that little feeling of being better. It's not necessarily that you are looking down on the others, Mara. There is a bit of condescending that comes from Chiefs. It's not a worksman club. It's not a club where the hard work. It's hard. No. It's the celebrity. It's the status. It's the fame, and that radiates through the club. So you need somebody who's not going to shake when they think about the league. You need somebody who's not going to shake when they think about the prospect of fans. Sometimes you need somebody, like I said, who's ignorant, who doesn't understand all of this stuff, and then you're sevenzel. Which is why a lot of them were successful. You look at mamelodi Sundowns. The reason why Caruso is struggling right now is that there has to be a feel of Butinias, man, go Sundowns. There has to be a feel of Butikitaka. You know, you have to feel smarter. Think about the conversations you have when we're on lives and you speak to Sundowns fans. What is the one thing we always say? Sundowns fans, man, they know football. Yeah? Sundowns knows football. Nina, you attend it, you play it, you are part of the league, and it's but you don't know football. That's why Rulani clicks. That's why Coach Pitso clicks. But that side at Ahly, like I said, you have to be bigger, because what's the archetype of what is an old northern coach? My father always spoke about Ufaro. And when he spoke about Faro, he was speaking about, I'm forgetting the coach's name, but he was the coach of Egypt. When you close your eyes, you can see the mustache, you can see his hair, you can see his demeanor. You can see it's that uncle who just hates everyone. It's that uncle who just looks down on everything. It's that uncle that has impossibly high standards. And everybody around them, fans, players, they feel like you're trying to live up to him. And Abu Marcel Kola, the coaches that have been successful at Ahly, Abu Marcel Kola, they have that thing. You hear it when he talks. You look at Widad, Abu Penzarti. I remember Penzarti coming to South Africa and saying that I looked at Chiefs and I understood within 10 minutes what they were. And when he lost to Chiefs, there was a tantrum that he threw because he just didn't understand how you have to have that air about you. And the closest is a Coach Pitso. The closest who has something like that, not quite, but he has something similar to that, is a Coach Pitso. Where Coach Pitso feels like not the father, the grandfather of the club. He feels like the guy who's he built what the family is. Our family is this because of that guy. And you need that energy. So again, calm, meek, reserved Jose was never going to work under that spotlight, under that demand. But what's very interesting is we're starting to see international football trends infiltrate the North. Now, South Africans will often say that Northern football is ugly to them. They've got this and that, all of the alleged things we say that the Northern teams do, but they seem to just win. It almost feels like a win at all costs. It feels like a soulless win to those who are watching from other countries. But is Pep Guardiola has infiltrated them, because I think where they're going wrong now is that they're looking to other countries and they're looking to the beauty and they're looking to ubumnandi of other countries. And they've been tricked into thinking that they need to bring that into their football. There's a reason why we dad fetched Rulani, Coach Rulani. There's a reason why. Coach Rulani is one of the public relations wise, he's one of the most highly talked about coaches on the African continent. When you watch Sundowns play, you watch it and you go, wow, that looks amazing. You hear Sundowns fans and even other fans crying for Rulani to come back because he's got the feeling of what is great. But what's happening is that when they get that side, you start seeing, no. We as the Northern teams can't be sacrificing our winning for you. Do you know what it's like? It's like Kaizer Chiefs. Personally for me, I think where Kaizer Chiefs lost the plot, and you could argue that they're coming back, but where they lost the plot was when they stopped with the core thing that they were good at. I don't remember a set style of play at Kaizer Chiefs, but I remember a very high bar and I remember a very high quality where they had players good enough to be able to sort of babysit the coach as well and adapt very quickly to what the coach wanted. Like Abu Patrick Mabedi and those type of players, Abu Cyril Nzama, went through so many different coaches, but they were able to adapt and all of that because they were such big quality players. Abu Mashamaite, I point to those type of guys. And the culture of Chiefs was mercenaries, similar to what was happening in the North. It's mercenaries. You're coming in for maximum 2 years. You're not coming in to build don't worry about building anything. We will take care and make sure that the players are pliable, but you're not coming here to build anything. You're not coming here to create a project. You are coming here to drive the car for the next 2 years. You're coming in to just steer. Marcel Koller, I can't tell you what his football looks like, but I can tell you that Ahly would wait until the final minutes, score their goal and go home by any means necessary. So now they're struggling in the north, trying to reconcile that thing. And I think Jose is one of the coaches that is indicative of what they're trying to do. Bring in a guy who was very successful at Pirates. You see Bomfukeng Bonkota, you saw what they did on African soils. We wanna implement that in Egypt. But it just doesn't match. And it's so funny because the guy that basically gave him the final nail in the coffin, the Pyramids coach, the guy who wasn't wanted by Pyramids, by the way, wasn't wanted by Pyramids. They had a long fight, allegedly, about their contract before he stayed. The guy who just won the Champions League is brash, is arrogant. His Pyramids team, yes, they run, they play a little, but they also, it's a hammer. They don't like him. They're looking at this softer thing, and it's so interesting because that's where you're watching world football go towards one road. And you're watching world football all try to play this football. I grew up in a time when you had the Samba boys who were different to the German technicians, the technically gifted Germans who are so precise, very different to the Netherlands total football, very different to what was happening in South Africa, very different to everywhere. And everybody had their football and they were fine with it until these ideas started circulating around football. And I think that is what the North is struggling with right now, and why I think they want to a certain type of play now. They want to appease the fans that are asking for a Guardiola-esque football. They want to appease the fans that are calling the football ugly, but they're losing the core of what made them strong. And that is going to be such a loss to African football. But I think it's a cautionary tale of us losing identity through wanting to be more European. In South Africa, that process has been completed. It's even gone further past, where we want our players to play Swiss, England, and Swiss, the top 5 leagues and all of that stuff, instead of just saying, guys, this is what you're good at. And I've been an advocate of study your game and understand your game and know what makes your game work to the point that you can make it world beaters. The Samba boys were world beaters with their football. The Spanish, when they developed this tiki-taka, this whatever, were world beaters with that football. They studied it down to a T. And I know Pep might be viewed as the father of this, but it was just progressions from Johan Cruyff, progressions where the Spanish took the time to go and study their football, took the time to go and write books about the football, go and interrogate their football. Not change, but sharpen it. And I feel what's happened in South Africa is that instead of focusing on our flavor and making sure that that flavor can knock all over the world, we chose rather to bring in different other things, and it diluted some of what we do, and that might be what's happening that side. But the grand point that I want to make here in closing is that, guys, football is soft, man. Football is soft. And I mean it from the sense that, guys, a lot of the things that happen in football, it's about how you make people feel over what you put on that pitch. I can guarantee you that the start that Jose had with, I believe it was the 2 losses, 4 draws and a loss and a win, would have been very different if he was a different kind of coach, if he was a louder pressure kind of coach, if he was a Grootman kind of coach. I think they would have had more patience. But those fans, that country, that club, when they see you weak, they can't have a weak person representing. Whether a loyal weak person is going to be good later, it doesn't matter. You said Pirates, you can build, because being weak is part of the appeal that fans will have with you. So you've got the time, you've got the project. I mean, 3 years with no league, for example. But you've got the time, you build. As long as you do what we want, You're not changing what Pirates is doing fundamentally. You're not doing all of these things. As we feel like we're building you, you can rule Pirates. I'm sure if Jose wanted, he could have been a coach at Pirates for 10 years. If he wanted to be. But I guess he thought the grass was greener. But that culture is very different to the culture that side. And I think that's what kills a lot of coaches and a lot of players. Because players are the exact same. They feel as though because I'm a 87 on FIFA, I can go play with anyone and nothing will happen to me. How many careers have gone down the drain because somebody made the wrong choice? You know, I sit here and I urge agents, managers, all those people to probably research what you're going into, to probably make sure that these guys play the football, the culture of the club is this, the history of the club is this, even if a coach chinchiwa. We're going to come in and we're going to do this and do this and do this, and we understand where the club is going. I don't think enough work is done with those things, and you find players, I don't want to say names, joining clubs and struggling, joining the best clubs and struggling. Look at Jack Grealish. I'll use him as an example that's far away. You look at Jack Grealish. Ubumnandi bakhe. There's difference between skillful and mnandi. In a club that has structure, that has other star players, skillful is what you need to be. You need to play within the bounds of a system. But to be successful in another club, ube mnandi. Dribble that thing, man. Take on people. Be free. Have the leeway, especially if you're the guy. You're the guy who's making the team tick. Abo, you're the guy, usually don't work. It's why in South Africa, Abo, you're the guy there too. Are usually not the players that are successful when they go overseas. They usually come back very quickly. Abo, you're the guy. And I'm just using an example because there are teams where you're the guy could go and join. And be you're the guy for that team because that's what the team wants from you. But these things take a lot of consideration. And not all step-ups are good steps for you. Not all Al-Ahlis are a great place for you to go. And we know this from our daily life and our employment. Some of us took a promotion. Some of us changed companies. And when you finally in that other one, you're like, yeah, I should have asked 5 or 6 more people about what happens here because it's no longer helping me grow. It's not for me, land. Ulinda Mtambo was saying on a live the other day, Ufigo, he was saying that environments are very important because in some environments you will thrive beyond recognition. You'll be a bafana player from a 9th place team because the environment is so good. It's so conducive to you. It's so built around making you good. And then you'll go and join another one and it just won't work out. And these are the things we don't talk about. Guys, tell me what you think in the comments. Remember, I'm not here to be right. I'm here to just put things on the table so that we can have discussions. And hopefully we can have discussions that broaden our understanding of football and broaden what we think of our football and grow the football. So please take this into your WhatsApp groups, your friend groups, your family groups, your discussions with friends, your discussions with strangers about football. Let's try and make our football better and try and get our understanding a little bit higher. And please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe here at the bottom. And if you can contribute, please contribute. It does help keep everything up. And if you can't, watch the videos, share the videos. Let's grow the platform as much as possible, guys. I'll see you on the next one. I'm also on Spotify.